everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Wow, do I have an interesting show for us this evening? I have remote viewed another blind target for Barry Littleton, my good friend, and we're here to talk about it tonight. Now, Barry and I were just talking before the show, and we both admitted we don't know a whole lot about this target. I mean, other than what I remote viewed, because I don't think Barry was sure that this was even real. Okay, but I got to tell y'all, I got a whole lot of data from it, and it lines up with whatever people were saying about it. Okay. And so what I've remote viewed is, I don't even remember what it's called. It's the black octagon structure in Antarctica. Okay. And it's not just one, it's a whole bunch of them. Okay. And a lot of people say that they are ancient, they are of extraterrestrial origin. And I think my data might back some of that up tonight. So if anyone is interested in going along with my remote viewing data and joining my Patreon, that would be amazing. I have a wonderful Patreon family, and I would love to have you there as part of the team. And yeah, all my data is there. I posted that today with some of the extras and all the pictures I'm going to be showing tonight. Okay, so yeah, well, hey, let's see here. How about if anyone would like to follow my shows and have a lineup? I mean, I usually post at least the day of my show on my website. You guys can find all my shows at thecryptidhuntress.com. All the links to my shops, War Woman Goods is on there. My Patreon's there. My show's at Spaced Out Radio. I'm a weekend host there. I have shows every Saturday and Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Also, if you guys are going to be in Georgia, April 1st, I'm going to be speaking at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference up in Dillard, Georgia. That's in Northeast Georgia. Y'all come see me. Okay. And also, I'm going to be at the Las Vegas Spaced Out Radio Fan Party, May 19th through the 21st. Please come see me there too. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then I'll be in Grafton, Illinois with Tyler and Aaron at the Journey to Truth Conference. My guest tonight, Barry Littleton, will be presenting there along with me. We'll be presenting separately, but we're going to be there together, and it's going to be a hoot. Okay, so yeah, let's get to the show tonight. How about it? Okay, let me see. Let me get my notes. Okay, because with these targets, like I always say, I never know exactly what I'm getting into when Barry gives me these amazing targets. And this one was no different. He gave me, I think it was 3 targets the other day, and 2 of them were related. We're going to probably do those next week. It's going to be a banger of a show, y'all. It's going to be amazing. Okay, for those targets. And then I got this one, which is not related to those, I don't think, but I was getting some similar data in this target that I got for the other targets. Okay, so it said that in Antarctica there are multiple perfectly geometric 8-sided octagon structures discovered by penetrating radar near Beardmore Glacier, I believe, somewhere in Antarctica. Engineers and scientists supposedly dug out the top layer of one octagon of pure black substance that was built on top of 2 more black octagonal structures that went down deep into about 2 miles worth of ice. Okay, ground penetrating radar determined the structures to be octagon in shape and covering an area of about 60 acres. It's believed the structures were built by human-looking extraterrestrials who were involved in the genetic engineering of humanity. Could this be an extraterrestrial base used as a hub for global civilization? I don't know. I might know. I've remote viewed it. And so I'm going to bring up my guest tonight, Barry Littleton, who is a good friend of mine. He's an amazing researcher. He has a fantastic YouTube channel, and I'm not going to say even more fantastic, just a fantastic Patreon as well. So please subscribe to his YouTube channel and his Patreon if you haven't already. And Barry is a researcher and an experiencer, and he's my go-to person when it comes to all things paranormal and strange. Okay. So welcome to the show, my friend, Barry Littleton. Hey, Barry. Hey, oh, you're muted. There you go. Hey.
Okay. Hey, greetings, Jessica. How you doing?
I'm excellent.
For having me on again. I'm honored as usual. And hello to your audience, who's always so kind. I appreciate all of them. And I kind of wonder, like, man, we don't need to be we don't need to start getting in trouble over these targets, man. This is
Well, it's your fault. You're the one that
just,
you're the one that came up with it. I blame you. Okay, it's all your fault.
You know, I will
I'm
say
kidding.
though,
It's not. I don't blame you. Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, we'll be all right, I'm sure. But the thing is, first and foremost about this target was I wanted to know if it was real, because when spirit brings things to me, they come in threes, and it's always overwhelming. And this came to me in one of these three patterns, and it made me really curious. So I want to see, like, opposed to the three things that I've heard that are quite consistent about this, opposed to what your data that you got, and kind of just see, you know, how it jibes. And it's very fascinating. But the first and foremost was I wanted to know, was it real? And I guess
I think we figured out it's real.
yeah.
What do you think?
Got that.
Do you think it's real? Okay, because so let me explain to the audience. Yeah, I'm going to explain to the audience real quick exactly what the process is. Okay, and so Barry, what you've done is I've taught you how to task some coordinates to a target, and so you have you choose the target, and then you put a set of 8 numbers to it, and then what you do is you just send me those 8 numbers. Okay, and that's all I have. I have nothing more, nothing less. I have 8 numbers. Okay, the numbers for this are 44937390. Okay, that's all I got. And so I sit down with my pen and my paper, and I go to work. I've been trained extensively in coordinate remote viewing, and I have graphs and charts and drawings that I sketch, and I use ideograms and every kind of anything that comes in my head, anything I hear, smell, taste, touch, feel, whatever. I write it down on my charts and on my paper. So this is my remote viewing data. It's pages of data that starts pouring out of my consciousness. Basically, I'm pulling it out of the matrix. Okay, and writing it all down. And so out of those numbers, I didn't go super deep on this one, because I did pick up that it was some kind of Stargate, and I knew that it had some kind of ET origins, or it might be off planet, actually, because I was picking up on that kind of like teleportation and a lot of stuff that I was like, okay, I better be careful not knowing what this is. I better not get super, super deep into it yet. I could always go back and re-examine it in the future, you know. But yeah, I immediately got a whole bunch of very interesting information on this. And I believe, you know, I know that you and I are not experts on these black octagons, but my data lines up with what people say these things are, in a way, right? So these things are ancient black octagon structures. Okay, and they say they have extraterrestrial origins. Barry, before I get into my data, kind of tell me what you know about them a little bit, and give me a quick little overview as to what they are and why you wanted to task me with these targets.
There supposedly are installations that were built in the last cycle, you know, that we had before that went on here. So these are a species that's been here a long time, and supposedly they have hostility about them. And I guess whatever current, you know, there's people that can talk about this way more than me. Whatever current event, whatever current agreement they have with the governments isn't working. And that these installations are something that they monitor all the time, or that we monitor, but suddenly there are these pods in them. And these pods that's something that kind of caught my attention. Okay, a lot was the way these pods were described in 3 different ways. Was these egg type situation, the egg type of a situation, almost sound a little bit aliens like in a way, but with the type of silver dirt that was feeding these incubators. And that inside of these incubators were these, what would be some type of, like, I guess you would term like a super soldier, some type of maybe gray that's more like an Eben, but bigger, and some type of hybrid that's some type of soldier. And inside of these incubators were guns and things like that, you know, and just how these pods were dormant, but they looked like it could be some type of an invasion. and that they
Wow.
weren't supposed to be doing that. They weren't supposed to be using this octagon for that, and that it would be at some type of an actual base and some type of actually, with technology, it would be portals and all the technology that goes along with all that. And I found it fascinating, but it was this, how I heard in 3 different ways, the situation of the dirt, the silver dirt that was feeding the incubators, and that how these super soldiers or whatever these gray things were inside of it. I found it interesting, and so I just wanted to know it came to me 3 ways. I try not to deal with too much of that because people that are know so much more about this will blow me out of the water. So I'm not trying to, but yet I'm curious and I like to know, you know what I mean? I don't want to, this is such a concocted world that we live on. It's hell, why not find out?
It is weird. Okay. So you said the word super soldier, that phrase. And yesterday I had the most amazing talk with Jody Cook of the North American Dogman Project. Okay. And I had some people that wrote in. I love all my viewers, man. I had a couple people that were like, I've watched this show 5 times.
I watched it. It was really good.
They couldn't get it.
Really
People
good.
are like, I can't get enough. I watched it 3 times a day, y'all. I mean, since yesterday, I've watched it 3 times. It's amazing. It's some of the most almost like cutting edge information that people don't talk about. I've never even heard some of these stories. He had stories about Space Force and a race of dogmen extraterrestrials that came here and crashed, and dogmen that look like Anubis out of Iraq and Afghanistan. Intelligent, like humans.
He looked incredibly, like, to me, I guess I was just tripping a little, but he looked to me a lot like that Navajo ranger that talks to David Paulides.
Oh, yeah.
On this show, they just kind of favor each other. I swear.
You're talking about Jody?
My imagination. That was a good show, though. I thought it was really good information.
Thank you. I think that was one of the better Dogman shows I've ever seen, and it was on my own channel. Okay, I'm just going to put it out there. Okay, that's all I got to say. And thank you everybody for tuning in. If y'all missed that, please go back and watch that. Okay, because it blew my own mind. Okay, and it takes a lot to blow my mind these days. Okay, but anyways, okay, so super soldiers. All right, perhaps that's what we got going on up here or down there in Antarctica. Okay, now Antarctica is another one of those places that's kind of off limits. I'm not supposed to be remote viewing that place. I don't know if I mentioned that to you, Barry, but it's okay. It's okay. We've made it out unscathed so far. But yeah, so I started picking up right away. First of all, I did pick up on something black. Okay. So I was really excited when it said the black, when you told me it was a black octagons. I was like, well, that's, at least I got that part right. Okay. So, but something that was giant, I got giant. I was picking up on actual giants with this target. Okay. So who's to say whatever was going on there? I mean, it was, I was getting something with a curvature, schematics. I was thinking cymatics. I wrote down schematics. So I don't know. But I got teleport, looking glass, kind of like project looking glass. I was picking up on a Stargate, something that's transitional. And I got a ton of sound data, like frequencies, audio waves, synth waves, like synthesis, it was almost like I was seeing grids, kind of like what you see. Okay, do you know the theme of Stranger Things? There's like that red grid. It's like a 1980s theme, kind of. I was seeing that, and now that actually is something that's very similar to what portals look like when a portal opens up. Sometimes you can see like a grid in the air. Okay, it could look kind of red actually too, kind of like on Stranger Things. Speaking from experience. Okay. So yeah, anyways, I was picking up on stuff like that. Synthesizers, synth waves, and I picked up on the numbers 6 and 11, 611. Okay. I was also, let's see, I got a whole bunch of sensory data. We won't get into the details and all that, but
question. Going back just a bit. All right. You said giants.
I said giants.
You emphasized that a couple of times. And,
I got giants several times in my data.
Can you give us a little bit more? Like, do you mean like mountain giants or like redhead giants, or what type of giants? Sasquatch type or
human giants? I was getting at humanoid giants. I actually was seeing what looked like Tartarian giants. Like, I've been talking a lot about giants lately. These actually look like humans, but they were just giant humans. So I was picking up on giant humans. Yeah.
Interesting.
That doesn't mean that they're. That doesn't mean that they are human. I mean, well, it means they look like they're humans. It doesn't mean that like they're terrestrial humans, but they're just giants, you know. But yeah, I was definitely picking up on teleportation. I got that several times in my data. Teleportation, Stargate. Yeah, I was getting teleportation and stargates. Okay, dimensions, teleportation, a portal. I mean, it was a straight up, just a big old portal. Okay, space time. I was hearing beam me up, like Star Trek, you know, and actually did get Star Trek. I got Star Trek. Yeah, I did. I got Star Trek. And I got Star Trek, and I got some sort of a contraption, and I kept getting parallel universes, parallels, and parallel universes too. Okay. Yeah, but something about a void. I don't know. I mean, I was seeing like what appeared to be like deep space kind of as well, but something that was very dark and black. I picked up on out there. And something that was a little sparkly as well, but that could have been the snow.
Dark. Where?
That
inside,
was my summary.
You don't mean the structure itself. You're talking about inside a device, or
this is when I was. I got something that was. This is when I was picking up on the portal. Okay, on the portal, I was picking up. There was something. It was very dark and it was like black. There was something there around the. When I was getting the portal and dimensional stuff and the teleportation, I was picking up on something black. Okay, something very dark, very black. And I don't mean like dark as in like bad energy. I mean like it was dark, like you couldn't see around in there. It was complete. It was pitch
very
black.
Interesting. Very, you know that something. Excuse me. Something I'll throw in as you talk about that is that this takes us also into, you know, I'd heard about there's probably bases out there, of course, but most people talk about that pyramid, that black pyramid that Linda Moulton Howe talked about, that you and Tanya remote viewed.
Tanya and I did.
And when I hear about that, and when I have past life memories about some of those pyramids that look like that, or more darker forces, and you know, and I look in our science now, there's something called Vantablack, and Vantablack deals with a type of actually substance that's almost a melanin derivative, melanin, that it actually absorbs all light around it. And you know, you're dealing with a fabric like that, substance like that, some type of metamaterial like that, that is dealing with this. And, you know, this is fascinating because for me, this takes it away from what I've been told in these three other sources, more to type 1 civilization, people not talking about the melanin dominant giants that were here that come from the Triangulum galaxy, not Andromeda, not the Milky Way, but from Triangulum. And, you know, one day those will all merge anyway. We all three of us will. But anyway, we don't hear about that much. And so I'll be quiet now, but I think it's fascinating. It's going slightly a different way than what I thought, and a better way, I think, probably. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, generally, I mean, listen, I just combine all my data. I gave you the gist right there. That was kind of it, because I didn't want to get I didn't want to get more deep into it, because I was kind of tiptoeing around it, to be honest with you, because when I saw the gravity, let's just say, of whatever this was I was looking at, it was something major. And it was something that I knew that I was probably not supposed to be poking around at. Okay, if that makes sense. You know, like I said, I kind of prefer to kind of when I'm doing these blind targets, I don't want to get in trouble. Okay, with some of this stuff, and you know. So, but that was kind of the gist of it.
Life forms you saw there, Jessica?
Giants, yes.
That's all the life forms you saw.
That was the only thing that I saw were like what looked like giant humans. Yeah, that were there.
You know, for the next target, that's going to come up again. And I think that's
came up in all three of them, actually.
It comes up with the next one's really fascinating, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, well, we'll do that next time, I guess. But in all three of those targets you gave me, they all contained giants in the data. And so when I say giants, I'm going to say giants mean just like humans that are bigger than us. Okay, like our size, but it was ancient, like ancient giants. I mean, who's to say that giants didn't? We're like little people, you know. We're the little people compared to them. They were probably the normal sized humans. We've been compacted.
Well, you have a situation where you go back further, and you know, I know in a lot of Hindu texts they talk about that too, where the beings you had like the large monkey, Lord Hanuman, and they're all supposed to be, those gods that were here then. They're all described as 25 feet in stature. It was said
Like
that Lord Hanuman jumped between mountains. If you read what's really said about that, and we look at things like, all these different giants that we see throughout history, not just Goliath, but I mean, you've got what's the other one that's holding the lion too?
Gilgamesh, maybe.
Yes, thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fascinating, and I think that
The Anunnaki.
the amount of the different types you have here, and some of those are obviously genetically modified, and that what we're dealing with, and all these targets you're dealing with, we've dealt with, are these dark facilities underground that have been going on since then. This is something going back 1,000 years. These dark facilities doing this cloning and this crap. And now we've got current negative people incarnating here, and whatever else is roaming around these facilities, actually producing this stuff. I mean, you're seeing actually the battle between the light and the dark and all that stuff right now. The amount of assault on people that are contactees right now, and it's been going on with having one of these things that are connected to the SSP narrative thing, but these horrible experiences. I mean, it's happening a lot because it's a field of energy down here that is tainting people's gifts, so that we start thinking and we start using the warped fields of our mind to turning our experiences into that. Things that may be coming from the divine field are getting warped by our personal power and turn our own experiences negative. That is happening.
That's right.
And on top of that, you're dealing with beings that can shoot virtual reality dream scenario at you consciously through the optical nerves.
Yeah.
It's a whole another thing going on.
That's okay. So Barry,
deception's high. Sorry, we're supposed to be talking about octagons.
No, but it's all connected. And actually yesterday when I was talking with Jody Cook, and we were talking about he was talking about all this technology that the 3-letter agencies and people in different agencies are able to put thoughts into our heads, and how when this technology came about where they could shoot direct messages into your mind, that's when schizophrenics started going on the rise, like the schizophrenia, and people started getting put in asylums more often and things like that, which actually ties into when we had all the asylums as well, where all these people were put into asylums for a long time. And I don't know. It actually connects to my show that I did with Jesus Payan about the prisons and asylums all over America, and the timeline deception, all that kind of stuff. So this is all connected in some weird, wacky, crazy way. There's no coincidence, and I'm just glad that we're able to kind of shed some light on this stuff, Barry, because a lot of contactees, I know for sure, and people who are, let's say, light workers, if you want to identify yourself as that, or some people have all been under very heavy attack. Okay. Very heavy attack recently. Every last one of us. Okay.
You got that right.
Yeah.
You got that right.
And it's not letting up either. So, and some of us are starting to fight back. So, and I think a good way to fight back is exposing some of this stuff with these shows that we're doing.
Like I can say, things concerning my personal experiences. Well, there's definitely some type of time war going on.
Yes.
And you're talking about facilities like this and things that are going back in the past, and some of this connects down to when I had to accept that I had also dealt with, during my contact experiences, some faction of these Nordics. And I had to eat a little crow, because you already know I did a lot of clouding saying that they all look like Kevin Sorbo and
like Fabio.
Fabio and Kevin Sorbo.
There's nothing wrong with that. They're cute.
And I did a lot of clouding, but I didn't realize that these beings this man I dealt with was a faction of that to some degree. But I will say this: the experience with that craft, that individual, that I call him a charter, but the way these individuals look, and I've described this experience on my channel. I've got illustrations done over it. There's no doubt they're dealing with timelines, and I called them intercommissioner, the temporal commission, because I think that's what they're doing. And we could say, if nothing else, historians to a degree. And you get some of these craft like that one that's perfect for just observing, even without interfering to a degree. And how actually historians record the past. It starts getting pretty heavy, you know, along with these time wars and all these things that happen and go along with solar flares and high solar activity, which are in now, you know, these time edits. Something's going on.
Yeah, Mandela effect. Okay, y'all, everybody knows that I'm hung up on those Mandela effects and that Chick-fil-A thing. I'm sorry, I am. I still am.
We did a couple. We did a show on that, didn't we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've done shows on Mandela effect. Absolutely. I remote viewed a Mandela effect, actually. And yes, Nana Boss. That's a great point. Yesterday, Jody Cook was telling us about the EVPs and how there's like certain programs where they can actually get into, like, send messages through like satellites to get into ghost hunting equipment. And so like those voices that come through are actually not spirits. Those could be agents.
Don't they call it the voice of God
something.
technology? Is that what it's called? The voice of God technology?
Maybe. Oh, I don't know.
I've heard it called that before, where they're using to hit people through those frequencies and EVP and all that type of stuff, you know.
Yes.
And I don't doubt it at all. You know what I mean? Because when you start getting into what is the the nano satellites and the nano satellite grid that have been up for a very long time, you know, there's all sorts of stuff going on there. And it's you know, unreal, you know.
It's unreal.
And I think in cross-referencing this with another deal that we had done, that winds up talking about the portals in the sun being used.
The weaponized portals.
You know, weaponized portals. Yeah. They're trying to do that anyway. And look, you know, kind of cross-referencing that with what are called axonal diffusion regions, which are the magnetics, electromagnetics between the fields of the sun and the earth. Between the two, there are these doors that open up every so often. There are these natural portals. You know, to think that there's not, you know, advanced civilizations that are using space and these wormholes and these portals for their actual power source. Whole other thing going on.
Okay. That's actually what I was getting with this target too. It's there's power. It's like generating power and portals. It's I don't know if this place is on a ley line or what. I mean, you know, I just got those 8 numbers. I didn't know what I was looking at until you told me.
You know what I kind of think in a way? I think that being just Antarctica itself is close enough to the pole that you start dealing with this planet, that you start dealing with that drag frame, that thing that creates those closed time-like curves is what they're called.
Oh my God, that's what I got. That's the first thing I got. I didn't mean to interrupt you. That was the first thing I got.
Right.
Curvature.
Go for it.
That's what I got. Curvature. That was the first word that I wrote that down before I even finished my ideograms. I heard that loud and clear and I just wrote it down. Curvature.
Okay, sorry, my chair seems to have broken here.
Don't fall.
No, it's just I hate sitting below that. Anyway, point being, sorry, I get distracted here.
It's okay.
Cross-referencing that with another show and something else you remote view, Mel's Hole. Yes. Mel's Hole operates what you described, like you and Tanya both, as a Tipler cylinder. That is time technology. People can look that up. Mike Tipler was another one of those time sciences guy. Time science. Anyway, so that's something else you described there, and that's also using the drag frame, though. This inertial frame drag and these closed time-like curves that are generated by such. And there it is again, you know, coming up again. So I think anywhere in Antarctica is going to be probably hot as far as that and dealing with those kind of portals and that kind of time closed-like curves. It'd be easier to harness them there geographically.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting how all of this is connected, how it's very similar. And, you know, the Dark Pyramid is in Alaska. That's on the other side of the globe. You know, it's at the North Pole, and we're talking about the South Pole today. Candy, by the way, thank you for that super sticker. You're awesome. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's 2 different poles with 2 different big power generating sources, like the Dark Pyramid in Alaska. And now we got the Black Octagon, and the Dark Pyramid was black. It was actually covered in, I think it was obsidian, according to our data. We both got that data. I think Tanya and I both got obsidian. Black
Something similar
obsidian.
to a Vanta Black type of substance.
Hmm.
Something similar, the same thing that's covering that black satellite, the black night as they call it. It's
Oh
covered with
yeah.
that stuff too. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the hits keep coming. I tell you, the hits keep coming, and it's
Wow.
really cool to see how all this stuff is really connected. And yeah, whatever I was looking at, it was real. Okay, it was very real. This target was definitely real, and yeah, I'm I knew that it was something important, and it was something big when I remote viewed it. That was what I was sensing right off the bat,
Wow.
and yeah. So
Wow.
I think it's I think it's funny. You're like, I don't know if
Um,
this is real or not, but then you
so
got my data.
another well, yeah, there's so much for
Oh, and
that.
I also picked up on
Um,
microwaves as well. Microwaves, all sorts of waves. I was
Microwave
seeing them.
technology.
Yes, microwaves. Yes.
Hmm. And that's taking us there. That takes us also in the crop circle thing there.
Okay.
Microwave technology, and even to what my experience is, why some of those beings don't come out of the craft, they have a problem with the microwaves in this atmosphere, along with the metals. I call it the M&M effect. They say it's very dangerous for them. If you're not from this place, we think it's just the viruses that we get some, the airborne viruses. No, some of those metals, some can't inhale that at all. It's more of it in our atmosphere than we think. Anyway,
Really?
well, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the whole Morgellons thing doesn't help it out, does it?
Oh my
And all that crap
gosh.
they're spraying, I mean, it's just endless,
Oh my
But
God. The chemtrails, all that stuff.
mhm, mhm.
They're pump.
So
They're pumping us full of all sorts of toxic chemicals and blocking
yeah,
out the sun
yeah,
and all sorts of horrible things. Like, who's in charge here? Who's
yeah.
doing this?
Hey, Jess, got a question. So
Okay.
concerning this octagon, did you pick up? Is it still active? Is it active now, or is this something that's like in a state of dormancy? Is it dormant, or is it active
No,
now?
I was picking it up as it is. It's it's still a place where you can teleport. I mean, I the target was this thing at this moment right now is what this way I picked it up. And yeah, well,
Okay, gotcha,
I
gotcha.
think it once you can teleport from there, you can always teleport from there. That's my opinion. It's a Stargate. I mean, that's the feeling that I get from it is it's there. It's probably I don't know if it's like a natural Stargate or they brought something in to be a Stargate there. I don't know. There it's a Stargate though. I mean, that was my data.
Something that probably harnesses the natural, like I said, the natural
The
area.
energy's
Something to
there.
harness that.
Yeah.
It's just the natural stuff this planet does. There are these makos or micro wormholes all over the place anyway. And we're just now
That's
starting to understand the different ways they occur. They occur. Sometimes people are seeing it like glitter. Sometimes people are seeing swirling
glitter. I got that.
vortexes.
I got
Sometimes people are
sparkly. I was
sometimes
picking up
people
on
are seeing
sparkly stuff.
spew.
Just look at that. That's what I was seeing there. Sparkly, glittery stuff.
Really?
Yes, yes, that was in my data. That was where I picked up. I was seeing the black. I was seeing sparklies, like sparkles everywhere. Like it was like glitter. That's funny that you said that because that was what I was picking up on.
Takes you
Yeah,
into a whole nother realm because there are also non-physicals that look like glitter too, to a certain degree. The non-physicals and they shining glitter of some type, but they're conscious.
okay.
Whole other thing going on. Yeah, it's wow. And like I was also going to say about the microwaves that connects in the way that connects to the crop circles.
Okay.
In that the crop circles, the nodes of those things are actually
The blown
exposed to something.
nodes.
Yeah, the
Yes.
blown nodes are actually exposed and they create something called an electron avalanche. And that electron avalanche is created by the high microwaves that these things are exposed to during this bending process. So that, and in a way, resiliency of the seeds themselves is like double. Once they go through that shock, they like produce like twice the yield of the ones that weren't there. So in that way, the crop circles can also be connected to our food shortage and a way to
That's
deal with that. But,
right.
but we don't hear about that science that was done on that very much. It certainly doesn't seem to be very public. What the guy Levingood was doing, he was doing a lot of experiments on those things. So
Well,
anyway,
it seems like there's an agenda right now to make our food sources more scarce and to blow up our factories and to block out the sun where we can't grow our crops anymore and to give farmers' incentives to get rid of all their cows and their chickens, and the prices of everything's gone up. I mean, it's like we're under attack from every single angle right now. We really are. And so instead of making food more prosperous and easily accessible, with the exact opposite is happening at the moment. I don't think it'll be that way forever, but that's where they're going with it right now. So there's suppressed technology, even like aging technology and stuff. I mean, everything is hidden. I mean, Barry, I don't know what to say about all this technology, all this teleportation. It's so hidden. Like what? I mean, and that's it's funny that you didn't even know for sure this was real.
Yeah, and you're describing things that were when we were a type 1 civilization on this planet. There's all sorts of structures here still functioning. You know what I mean? That they're hiding, and that's one of them there. You've got so far. You said that the generator there, the Black Pyramid is real. They said that's enough to power all of Antarctica or all of Alaska,
underground, inner Earth, whatever
so
they're doing down there.
You got a generator. You got these installations. Who knows what else is there? You know, I mean, but it's wow, it's.
That's kind of what I think these octagons are doing as well. I think that they could be like a power source as well. They're powering up something, but there's just a whole lot to it. It's not just these pods, whatever, you know. I mean, I didn't pick up on pods, but I picked up on a whole bunch of other stuff.
And, you know, you start dealing with beings too that can teleport by using the black holes in each of our own molecules. And that's a whole nother thing. And they can use spots like that without needing ships, without needing technology. You know, you got those brothers that were doing that a lot. And even that one thing that sadly, that whistleblower I did that video with years ago, where I want to talk about black extraterrestrials and melanin dominant extraterrestrials, claimed that they had met these melanin dominant extraterrestrials that were humanoid, but yet they could bilocate and teleport across all galactic space by just using the black holes within their own molecules and their own cellular structure. And that's a whole other thing going on.
What if that's how Sasquatch teleports?
Well, they do something like they do. You know, I'll throw something else about Sasquatch again. Okay. What is going on with them and trees? It keeps coming up way more than things in threes. And I've been hearing more. I start getting these things. I said, things come to me, and it's these people that talk about they see these Sasquatch sticking their heads out of these trees. And they're way too big. The head is huge, coming out of the side of a little skinny tree, and there's no other body. And also the head pops back in. What is that? And then they're hearing tree knocks, but there's no. Very few people have ever seen any of them knock on trees. And what is it about them that drains batteries and drains? And I've heard so much, even more about people having several fresh batteries. All of them get drained only when the Sasquatch is
every
around.
Time. I'm a field researcher. Yes. I can attest. Yeah,
there's something that they're doing. They're drawing power so they could do this manifesting thing. Yes. And this whole thing they're doing.
It's to manifest.
And I think that they combine with trees to make that to get that same power, that energy. Same ability. Yes, they're doing like something. They're combining with the tree, and somehow there's something going on there. And you know, and trees are a great power. They're just stationary beings.
Yeah. Hey, Marty, not a boss. Thank you for that super chat. You're so sweet. Everybody, by the way, in about 20 minutes, Marty and I will be on a roundtable with the Blondes and Booze in Texas Front Porch. Y'all go see us. I'm going to be there live in about 20 minutes, right after the show. So y'all come. Marty, thank you so much. I don't know. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, you said that there's like small portals around, like little tiny portals. Those can be used for manifesting and going from place to place. And it's like natural portals. That throws a whole other element into all the supernatural stuff.
Yes.
A whole other element.
I've been on board a craft where there are these portals in this room, like, at least a dozen or more of them, opening and closing. And it made me so sick to be in that room. There's a black beam in the middle. I'm kind of holding on this black beam because I can't, you know what I mean? But that's just when you're dealing with a type of a ship that actually can produce or harness these existing black holes, wormholes, and then choose the one that has the path of most coherency. Whole nother thing going on. We don't think about a sentient organic crap being able to do that, but something else going on here. We're way behind here on Earth.
Not everybody, just us that are in the dark. I think that there are people who know what's going on, but not us little people. Right?
I ain't a little person. I'm big. Swole. Indio champ. No, just kidding.
Just as little people. You know what I mean. I mean figuratively. Just as little people.
Yeah. I will tell you this though. I do appreciate what we're doing here though, because I've learned a lot from these. Each one of these targets, and now this show here shows how interrelated each one of them are. That's why I've mentioned some of the other shows we've done, because the same stuff is coming up on what should be totally separate. What the hell HE double hockey sticks does Mel's hole have to do with the Antarctica deal? I mean, but you're seeing this type of a harnessing of certain things as time technology, and these devices, like you said, Project Looking Glass, that ties right into that.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Okay. So Barry, I'm not going to lie, about a year, maybe 2 years ago, when I really started cracking down and like getting healed and on my spiritual path, I kept getting this message, these downloads that, I think part of why I'm here is to talk about time technology, time travel, time. And I kept thinking, there's the weirdest downloads. What in the heck does that even mean? And here I am, almost every single show that you and I have done, we're talking about Mandela effect, time technology, time travel. I'm hearing out in the field when I'm at the meadow, time travel, like somebody yelling that to me from across the creek. Well, there's nobody out there. Okay. I'm hearing like, it's consuming my life right now. Yes. It's not consuming like it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. But who'd have thunk it? It has such a relevance in everything that we're doing right now. And it's about these timeline shifts, the tell of two timelines, like Frank Jacobs says. Okay. Timeline splits, we're breaking out the 3D Earth and going to 5D. There's people being left behind. There's some of us that are ascending. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Is that what's happening?
I'm so confused. I don't know. That's what I hear.
Hey, I got a question. Whoever asked that question, that's way out of my pay grade. But when they say Martha Stewart, are they referring to the lady who wrote The Matrix?
Martha Stewart is the lady that has the linen. She's got the kitchen products and cooks food on TV. Right?
Oh, her that hangs out with Snoop Dogg?
That Snoop Dogg's best friend. Oh, okay, yeah, that lady.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Maybe she's up there making some macaroni and cheese. I don't know.
His fake best friend for television. Yes. She's the one that makes nice little pedophores and stuff. Yes. But I mean, that's a good question. Like what were like John Kerry and guys like that going down to Antarctica for right before Donald Trump took office, like it was just kind of weird. There's all these people that go down there. What are they hiding? We're kind of finding out now.
The same stuff's being hidden in the oceans. The thing that was, we know that the ocean is just highly, highly active. Those bases in there, and they're within subterranean even there, I'm hoping that that's what's happening now is this stuff is getting blown open, and the amount of manipulation that's going and how many of us on this planet are truly contactees and aware and not asleep like they're saying, just being subdued to a degree. I'm hoping that's what's changing here a lot before time runs out.
Yeah. Donna has a good question. She said, are the underground bases causing sinkholes all over the world? I've wondered that too, Donna, actually. The whole inner Earth theory and inner Earth is real. I have come across it in several of my remote viewing targets. Inner Earth is real. And hollow Earth, whatever you want to call it.
I think the fracking could be causing that. The fracking that they're doing, that technology could be causing that to a certain degree, I think. Along with the natural platonic movement and stuff. But yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of earthquakes. I mean, there's a lot of natural disasters. You know what I mean? Like natural, like what's natural now? Like hurricanes. I don't even believe those are natural at all. With the weather manipulation, the chemtrails, HARP, when I've remote viewed the Portlock, Alaska and the Black Pyramid up there, there's all that weather technology and it's really doing a number on all the animals and the Sasquatch up there, cryptids and humans. It's really doing a number, just those sound frequencies. Okay, the vibrations, those frequencies are really, really harming people and animals and everything.
Which is
So
something that you mentioned, that structure being is highly frequency oriented,
yes,
sound oriented. You know,
that was the majority of my data was like frequency, sound, a whole lot of waves, frequency waves, synthesizers and synthesis. I don't know. I don't even know what that stuff is. You know, it just was like a big old 1980s music video right there. I don't know. Synthesizers. I don't know. Keytars. Just kidding. There were no keytars in my data. I take that back. But yeah, there was some weird stuff. But it does, but that's as they say, this whole world is energy, frequency, vibration. And that's kind of what we're dealing with.
you know, I see something interesting on here. Channel Warhorse said something. I just caught it. Time determines power, yet current is power, and it's got equations here and stuff. You know, when
Okay.
dealing with general relativity and those closed time-like curves, much less low power needed. Low power. You know, and I think that's something that's not being really recognized a lot with the technology itself, and especially if it's going to be accessed consciously, like these Makos themselves would operate
Mhm.
on like conscious waves, which are spherical and also helical. And for our bodies, and especially the microtubules of the brain, which are spherical also, it's the best way for us to access that. And that's going to be conscious energy, which is more low power, opposed to general relativity. You know, it's in special relativity. So, you know, food for thought. I think there's all sorts of different ways, but I think that the more conscious, organic way is maybe the way to actually access these Makos much more than just by general relativity and high power and the Doctor Who way, which is cool too. But
Doctor Who? Doctor
yeah,
Who
we
way.
started doing those things like those what that scientist calls direct holes, DIRAC, direct holes,
Okay.
and those are kind of a way of traveling in space that's more direct. I think maybe more might be going on too, and it's like those. Along with that, I think comes these quantum dots. I've been hearing things about that the quantum dots have been engineered in a way that they're putting those over planes, and you can't see them as metamaterial over planes, and they'll make you see anything or invisibility. Really fascinating, you know, this thing that science is showing us. So
Yeah. And time is relative, right? It's all relative.
So for
Oh
our
my
bodies,
gosh.
it seems to keep going forwards in these bodies as we get old, break down. You know,
Well, if they would
what
just
is it?
release some of that anti-aging technology, we wouldn't be getting I wouldn't be getting wrinkles and gray hair right now. Okay. That would be great. Okay. Renee, thank you so much for that super chat. Y'all are just the sweetest. Y'all are too good to me. I appreciate that. I
You
do
got a
appreciate the
great
support.
audience.
I
You got a
do.
great
Thank you.
audience.
Thank
Really
you
nice
so
people.
much.
So many have subscribed to me, and I mean that's cool.
Yeah.
My count has went up, and my view count goes down. So I know they got me that algorithm. You know, but that's all right. I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing.
It's
I thought about it, but I would keep going for a while until spirit tells me to stop.
yeah.
So,
No, you're gonna keep going. I'm dragging you along with me, Barry. I'm sorry, you're not going anywhere.
well,
So
you know, I'm
yeah,
honored to be going to that conference. I've had a few bad
me
experiences. I
too.
wasn't sure I was going to do any more conferences, but this one is a good one. I think there's the right energy on it, the right people behind it. And it's a pleasure going to be there. And really, it's nice to be around people of the like vibration. They're just looking for answers, put our heads together, and figure stuff out. It's really
That's
cool,
right.
you
That's
know.
going to be awesome. Yeah, I can't wait too. Yes. And by the way, okay, so John Vandeventer, hey John, John's in the chat. He actually he is the author of the Relics book series. Okay, and it's about Sasquatch and UFOs, and it's amazing. I actually have his most recent book right here, Relics 3. Okay, so you guys go get your copy if you can, and it's amazing. But John actually posted this on Facebook today. The symbol, which is called the black sun, which is on this object that we looked at. I'm going to show you guys. Oops, let me go back. Let me take this comment down from John, and I'm going to show this symbol. This is actually on what I was looking at. Okay, and this is called the black sun, and John actually has this in his book. It's on one of the aircrafts. in his latest book. So he thought that was really cool that I was remote viewing this object that has this symbol on it. And this symbol has actually been used. It was, you know how like the Nazi Germans like kind of took things and corrupted it. Okay. Like, it's like, you can't even use these symbols anymore, like the whirling log and stuff, because they used it and now it looks bad if you wear it. You know what I'm saying? So, that's another one of these symbols. Those are actually ancient runes. And it's a sun symbol. They call that the sun wheel. And that was on this ancient Stargate.
You know, I've read some things that say, you know, people also that might also be connected to the fact that outside of Pluto, you've got another Kuiper belt out there called trans-Neptunian objects, and they're in these very bizarre orbits. And some of these things are showing that we might possibly be a binary solar system, and that we've got actually two suns, one of them that's a brown dwarf, and it'd be very hard for us to detect here. But you're having all those things out there that are starting to have a gravitational orbits that it makes it questionable. So, you know, and I mean, I know everybody wants there to be a Nibiru and all that stuff. The gravitational perturbance in their solar system isn't showing that too much. I mean, not as easy as it should be to find it, but is this a binary solar system? Quite possibly. And I think that's good food for thought, you know.
Okay, wait. Okay, I'm not going to hop into the other targets that I did. That we're probably going to do that next week. I was picking up on binary stuff, like binary codes and stuff like that for those targets, Barry. So I don't know if you saw that or not, but that was included in those targets for next time. Yeah. Okay. So,
you know, interesting. You know, your friend there, when you showed me that book, I started picking stuff up.
John.
Very interesting. I wonder what he knows about this. I started picking up the Solomon mines and the Sasquatch is supposed to be guarding the stuff there. He knows something about that.
Yeah.
Be a good question for him. I don't know. It
We'll
just came through when
John.
you showed me that picture. I just started picking that up. I don't know where it came from. So it's got to have some relevancy.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't had time to finish the book yet. I've only touched the beginning of it. Okay, so I'm gonna finish his book. His books are nail biters, by the way. They're really good. So shout out to John Vandeventer. Thank you for being here, John, tonight. But yeah, it's super interesting that symbol is on that big Stargate. Okay, so what we do know that the Germans did have a vested interest in everything that was going on in Antarctica, right? So I don't know. Apparently that sun, let me pull a picture back up so we can show the audience tonight. It's a solar symbol. It has 12 of these runes on it. Okay. And which symbolize the months, the solar cycles, and the 12 nights of the round table, basically. I mean, I think the Knights of the Round Table came after these these things. I mean, these are millions of years old, in my opinion. I don't know. These are super, super old. But what I was reading, the black actually, the black color kind of, it kind of represents the occult background of the knowledge related to the ancient solar cults. Okay. And this was when I was reading about like why the Germans kind of use the symbolism or whatever. But apparently this symbol activates summoning. Okay, summoning. What is this trying to summon? Okay, this is from a Viking standpoint, because the Vikings actually use with their runes. I know what is summoning. I know, but it activates power, and it's used for summoning. So the only thing I know to summon would be bad energies and stuff, but I don't know. It's all relative, like you were saying. Everything
down here is bad energy. I mean, it's like nothing down here is really good. I mean, let's just be honest. All this stuff you're remote viewing, it all sucks, man. I mean, if you're somebody that's into the dark crap, hey, you're having a blast right now.
You're having a blast on this planet.
If you're into the dark stuff, everything that we're doing, there's nothing that we've done except for the crop circles that was anything positive. It was a good message to come along with the crop circles, right? It was the plasma balls. That's about as good as it's gotten. Outside of a statement for humanity, and that's about it. And they were out, they were done. And it's I'm sorry, just being honest, man. It's very depressing to a degree. And nothing we're talking about is a bunch of light infused. None of this. Black circles, black suns. I mean, it's a It's
Well,
a
it's okay,
shame.
but it, you know what? But we're here. We are of the light, and we're shining a light on it, and that's the best that we can do right now, is to shine a light on all this darkness. That's my opinion. I'm glad that we're here to do this. I would have never known about this stuff otherwise. Except, well, I would have known about him by reading Relics 3. Okay, John had him in his book, but I never heard of this until
Oh, these smart. That's cool.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. See, I just picked that up. I didn't know, but that's cool. Check it out. I've always wondered what
Yeah.
type of Sasquatch those are, or if they're mountain giants, or really what they are that's guarding that.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh,
Also,
you
also,
guys,
also,
I
didn't
love,
Solomon say? Didn't Solomon say that knowledge was a curse? Didn't he?
I don't know, maybe.
I think he
Could have been a
did. I think he
curse.
did.
All words are curses. So you better do good ones. You better say good ones. Yeah. Yeah. I actually started paying a lot of attention to the words that I was speaking to myself the past couple years, and even the words that I wear on my clothing. Like, I don't wear clothing that doesn't say like champion or superstar or something awesome on it. Okay. It's because I don't want to, that words are spells. So everything that comes out of our mouths can be a spell. And so we have to be very aware of that. And you know what I was thinking? I was singing this song that is made really, I'm not going to name it or the singer, but this guy, he dressed up like the devil on the Grammys the other night and sang this song. And that song has like been in my head, right? I cannot sing that song because I'm like, that is like demonic, right? And so it's like these songs that like have these catchy tunes will get in your head, and then like you're saying this spell over and over again to yourself. So everybody, let's be really mindful about what kind of songs we listen to. Don't let it get in your head, because you're like, when you start getting these songs and you're repeating them over and over again in your head, and it's a catchy tune, it can be like horrible, because it's putting that in your mind. So
that question there,
side note.
that's again killer question. To my primitive knowledge, all right,
Mm-hmm.
those that connects very much to the time sector, the private sector, time technology in the private sector, that Third Reich type of technology, like that Bell and all those things like that we're dealing with. Those are things that were more connected to that. And right now, when looking at what will be the current time generators and things that they've got patents for, they're trying to make patents for, it actually uses these quantum computers. And oddly enough, when I had somebody I communicate with, and they're doing that high level stuff with the high level corporations, and they asked me, they said, Barry, have you actually seen a quantum computer? This is a few years ago. At that point, I hadn't. So I looked it up. I assumed it was like some sort of nice laptop or something, or a Whopper from the War Games movie. But actually, this thing, when I saw one, especially the IBM one, it looks a lot like the thing that is in the middle of the TARDIS on Doctor Who. Looks
Oh,
similar to
really?
that. And these quantum computers are running these new time generators. That's a whole nother
Yeah.
thing. So what that individual is talking about right there, and Walking Lightly 369, I would
Yeah.
say so, definitely. I think they're taking it further, and it's real. I would say definitely. It's
Oh,
just a shame
yeah.
how long they've been doing it, and messing up our world.
It is. Well, we're here to take it back. We're snatching our power back. Okay, that's what we're doing. And I don't know. It may just be subtle things, like being careful about how we talk to ourselves and other people, and not letting all this darkness infiltrate our minds, and turning off this dark music, and turning off these TVs, and not looking at these actors and actresses as icons and stuff, like, and singers and stuff. I don't know.
Or
I
thinking
don't
after
know.
their
Let's
past,
get out in
the
nature,
whole world
y'all.
seeing them coming back as angels because they
Yeah.
were a pop star. So they must have been angelic. Yes, they're coming back as angels. Of course.
Angels, dark ain't fallen angels, right? It's okay.
I'm not to
It
say,
is
not for
what
me
it
to say.
is.
I'm staying out of
It is what it
that.
is. It
They
is
get a
what it
stone
is.
thrown at me, Jessica.
Yes, I know. Well, we just got to be aware of it, and yeah, I think just shedding light on all this darkness is just the way to go. And I think that's what we're doing, Barry. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Barry. I have to jump over to the Blondes and Booze now, because I am on a round table with Nana Boss and some other ladies there.
Well,
Letitia Nunley.
enjoy.
Yeah,
Thank you for
that's
doing
gonna
this.
be
I
a good
appreciate it.
time. Thank you.
And
So
thank you to the audience. They were great questions there. out of my league. That's real
Oh
cool.
man, I have the best audience. Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. Y'all are the best, and I hope that we answered the question. Like, are these black octagon structures in Antarctica real? Yes, they are absolutely real. According to my data, yes. They are stargates, portals used for energy sources, and they are millions of years old, in my opinion. Okay, and according to my data, they're very old, and so. Yeah, we've uncovered them. We've uncovered them tonight, Barry. So thank you for your amazing target, Barry.
Thank you for
It's
doing
always
it.
a
I
pleasure.
appreciate it. Thank you for having me on too. I appreciate it.
For sure. Well, maybe we can do another one, the other targets next week. We have some really good ones, and I actually have personal experience with one of them. Okay, out in the field. So I'm going to have some more
I knew it
stories
was
for
up
y'all.
your alley.
Yeah, it's right up my alley. It is. It is. It
And
is.
it's cool.
All right.
That's something a lot of people talk about either. I think it'd be good to throw light on it, you know?
I was embarrassed to talk about it in public because it was so strange, and we didn't know if we were losing our minds or if it was something that really happened. And so I've remote viewed something. I remote viewed it, but it wasn't my experience. It was someone else's experience. And it's the exact same as my experience. So y'all will figure out what that is next week. We're not going to reveal it tonight. But thank you everybody for the super chats, super stickers. I love you guys so much. Barry, you're the best. And you guys please join me this weekend on Spaced Out Radio. I got some amazing guests, including Fred in Alaska. With subarctic Alaska Sasquatch, Fred Roll. So y'all be sure to join me. Okay. And y'all go over to Blondes and Booze now. I'm going to be there in about 2 minutes. Okay. On a round table. Good night, Barry. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Take care.
All right. We'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a good night.